You're watching CBS Sports HQ. Now that we're officially in June, the NFL has reached a very important benchmark. So many player contracts are structured in a way that they could become expendable after June 1st. And there's a lot of big names to keep our eyes on as we enter June. So top of that list, of course, it's got to be Kirk Cousins and what the Falcons are going to do with Kirk at that position moving forward. It seems like it's Michael Penix Jr.'s team. We have some more veterans like Cousins who account for a large portion of a team's annual salary cap, and are more likely to be traded or released after June 1st. So another name that we're seeing on there is, of course, Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins star wideout, he had quite the start to the offseason, basically saying that he wants out of Miami after missing the playoffs, but claimed it was all out of frustration and kind of walked back those comments last week at Dolphins OTAs. So let's welcome in B-Mac and Bryant McFadden. We're here to look into a few names to kind of keep an eye on after we got June 1st and we're well into June. And we're going to start with the Cheetah because the Dolphins, they can save close to $15 million by trading him. There's been, some drama. We just talked about the comments that he walked back a little bit earlier from the offseason. So do you think Miami should move on from Tyreek Hill and maybe avoid any further distractions?
No. If they really have playoff aspirations this upcoming season, you do not move Tyreek Hill. I understand he's been a distraction, but last time I checked, he's been a distraction over the last few seasons. And you found a way to keep him intact, to be a part of the organizations. You found a way to give him the extensions in terms of finances to keep him happy. So find a way to keep him happy. I'm not saying restructure or give him new money because he just gave him an extension, not mistaken, a year ago, last offseason or whatever the case may be. But you keep him in the building because he's your best skilled offensive player. He is the guy that he is the straw that stirs the drink for you in Miami. You want to see the best of Devon A-Chain, have Tyreek Hill involved. If you want to see the best from your quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, have him involved. I don't understand why Miami, they're entertaining these conversations because when you look at what Chris Greer has built there in Miami, a very, very competitive team over the last few seasons. But now it's almost like they're trying to force a rebuild and entertaining these conversations about moving Tyreek Hill, entertaining conversations about moving Jonnu Smith, who had a career year for the organization. All of that makes no sense, especially if you have playoff aspirations.
So you don't think the Dolphins should move on from Tyreek, but let's talk about his teammate, Jalen Ramsey, entering his 10th season in the NFL. And V-Mac, you've said on HQ we should get ready for a reunion between him and the Rams. Dolphins could save $10 million by trading him. Do you think they should?
I don't think so because he is their best cornerback. You can say whatever you want to say about Jalen Ramsey and being a bit older in terms of his football career. But yet and still, when you look at what they do not have outside of Jalen Ramsey, he's your best CB option. You just lost Javon Holland in free agency to the New York Giants. He was your best safety option. I understand you brought some guys in, but Javon Holland understood the Dolphins' way. He was one of he was like the best communicator you had in the secondary. He's no longer there. Now you're trying to move on from your best individual corner. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And oh, by the way, you just gave Jalen Ramsey an extension last offseason. I mean, it wasn't like he was asking for new money. You decided to go ahead and give him extra money. And now you're thinking about moving on from him a year after giving him an extension. And yes, he did. He played pretty good football. Was he an all-pro-like player a year ago? Did he play elite caliber play at the cornerback position? No, but he was the best option you had. So if you're moving on from him, like I said, it doesn't make any sense, especially if you're trying to be a competitive team, a team that would like to get into the playoffs.
B-Mac, finally, let's talk about Kirk Cousins, the top name on that list there. And you spent some time in the offseason, some great interviews with Michael Penix Jr., and it really feels like Atlanta, the Falcons, that is his team moving forward. So where do you think Kirk Cousins should go?
Whatever team is willing to take on his contract, that will follow him, wherever that is. Because if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you have no leverage because of the guaranteed money that Kirk Cousins has tied to him. So this could be a wait-and-see type of ordeal for the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe Kirk Cousins staying with the organization throughout preseason, throughout training camp, and once the season starts, there could be an injury to a starter, an injury in terms of depth that hurts a certain organization where they need to bring in a veteran presence, a guy that can keep things afloat. But right now, unless the Falcons are willing to eat some of that money, I see it can be very, very difficult for Kirk Cousins to be moved sooner than later, understanding the financial ties that will be associated with him.
Yeah, the Falcons could save nearly $30 million in cap space if they trade him this month. B-Mac, we certainly appreciate it as we talk about a lot of big names in the league that we could see on the move. Let's turn our attention back to the NBA. It's two small market teams battling it out in the finals. Is this better for viewership? We're going to talk to our front office expert, David Sampson, coming up on HQ.